Hello, friends. Very good morning to one and all. I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you guys are fit and fine and are taking due precautions and care of yourself to keep safe from COVID 19. Well, today we are going to hold a brief discussion on economics. That is because we are on the eve of publishing the census data of Census 2021. Now, census in India is carried after every 10 years since 1872. Okay, so why is it important for us to understand the necessity of a census, and with the perspective of economics, why it is so imperative? Now, friends, if somebody asks you what is economics and define economics in a single sentence, what should be your answer? Well, according to me, the answer should be that economics is nothing but generation of wealth by optimum utilization of available resources. Right now, the optimum utilization of available resources is the key term over here. Why? Because we have limited resources, aren't we? I mean, the conventional energy resources, if you see, that is petrol, diesel, right, organic oil, these are all limited. So we have to utilize these resources with optimum care and due care, and we must see to it that the resources are not wasted. Now, what is important? Why do we have to calculate the number of people living in the country and what is their connection with the resources? That is because all of us utilize resources on day-to-day basis, daily basis, right? Now, before getting into that, we will see some of the most basic terms. That is GDP, let's say, for an instance. Now, what is GDP? Most of the people, when they ask me the difference between GDP and GNP, they get confused, right? So, it has got a profound connection with the census of the country. It has got the profound connection with the resources. Now, friends, I'm sure all of you must be knowing that GDP is the money value of all the goods and services produced within the domestic boundary of the country for the given period. That is a year, right? We say it's a fiscal year, let's say, for instance. So the catchword over here is domestic, that is gross domestic product, right? So when we talk about GNP, it is nothing but gross national product. So the catchword there is national, and catchword in case of GDP is domestic. Now, what is the difference between these two? Try to understand, friends. The difference between these two is when we talk about GDP, we are taking into account the products and services produced by all the people who are living within the domestic boundary of the country, right from Jammu and Kashmir in the north to the Kanyakumari in the south, or to the Andaman and Nicobar, right from Arunachal Pradesh in the northeast to Gujarat in the west. So whosoever is living in this country, the money value of all the goods and services produced by all the people in this country, irrespective of being foreigners or Indians, is considered into GDP, right? Let's say, if you take an example, let's say you must have seen so many foreigners, they are acting in the Indian, or you can say Bollywood movies, right? You must have seen so many extra artists, junior artists, dancing behind Hrithik Roshan or Shah Rukh Khan and all. But they are foreigners, right? So obviously their income, the service that they are giving here in India, shall be considered in calculating the GDP, right? Now, what is GNP? Friends, GNP is nothing but the goods and services produced by the nationals of the country, irrespective of living here in India or living abroad. Let's say there are so many Indian nationals living in United States and all across UK, Africa, Australia, New Zealand, everywhere, right? And these nationals, although they are non-resident Indians, they are definitely contributing in producing the goods and services in these different countries, right? So when we talk about GNP, we have to subtract the money value that is contributed by the foreign nationals while they were living in India, and we have to add the money value that is created by the Indian nationals when they were working abroad, right? So when we consider that money value, in other words, when we consider only the money value of goods and services produced by the nationals of the country, it is considered as GNP, which is gross national product. However, in case of GDP, it is the domestic. So GDP, this term, no, it is very much related to the physical boundaries of the country, to the domestic boundaries of the country, and not beyond that. And when we think about GNP, it is always the money value of the goods and services produced by the nationals of the country, irrespective of whether living in India or living abroad. I hope you guys are clear now. Now, what this has got to do with the census? Now, coming back to that point, my friends, let us know that the next term of this particular GDP and GNP would be net domestic product, right? So friends, we know what is depreciation, right? Depreciation is nothing but the wear and tear caused while we are producing the goods and services. Let's say you have a car, or let's say you have any particular tool which is being used in the factory in order to manufacture the product. Now it is very much possible that that particular tool or your car, tires of the car, let's say for instance, that gets torn out, that gets weared out during the process of manufacturing, during the process of production, isn't it? So we will have to replace that worn out tire with a new one, right? So some cost, some money will have to be spent in order to replace the worn out tools, torn out tools with new tools, right? So this particular phenomenon could be considered as depreciation. Friends, if you have car, let's say for instance, since it is considered in goods and chattel, right? Since it is not static, so car will always have depreciation. Let's say today the value of the car is, let's say, 1 lakh rupees. Next year, due to depreciation, the value of the same car will be somewhere about 80,000 rupees if depreciation is calculated at 20%, right? So this is depreciation. So when we subtract depreciation from GDP, we arrive at net domestic product. Similarly, when we subtract depreciation from GNP, we arrive at net national product. So these are so important terms, my friends. So then we again have subsidies, then we again have indirect taxes, right? Direct taxes. So when we subtract the indirect taxes further from this net domestic product, and when we add the subsidies given by the government in order to manufacture such kind of products, we arrive at net domestic product at market price, isn't it? We arrive at net domestic product at market price. And then further, when we subtract the incomes earned by foreigners in India, and when we add the income earned by Indian nationals abroad, we arrive at net national product at factor cost, right? And further, when we divide this net national product at factor cost by population, we get per capita income, which is the growth indicator of any economy, per capita income, right? So that is why in order to divide the net national product at factor cost, and in order to understand and analyze and form the new policy of industrialization, economic liberalization, or whatever public policy, agriculture policy, export policy, import policy, we must understand what is per capita income, which can be obtained by dividing the net national product at market at factor cost by population. Bit slip of tongue. So that is why it is important, it is absolutely imperative for us to understand what is the population. For that purpose, now we will have the census figures of 2021 very soon. This entire process was delayed due to the what do you say, the hard onslaught of COVID-19. But now the process has re-begun again, reinitiated again, and very soon we will have these figures. So friends, whenever you have such kind of doubts, such kind of what do you say, any difficulty while you study, just try to understand from the present context. Okay, just try to dissect that matter in order to understand the concept. And unless you understand the concept, please do not go ahead. That is because if we understand the concepts well, we'll be able to build the applications based on those concepts in a fundamental manner, and we'll be able to develop so many applications. Because now we have new national education policy which is putting a lot of emphasis on application based learning and not just bookish learning. So friends, I hope you like this brief discussion. We will definitely hold such kind of discussions as we progress ahead and as we upload new lectures. And just happy studying, do very well. We'll see you soon. Bye bye.